G'day guys, CZ here. I have been nominated for the frequently asked beer questions. I think tasting niche, I think, started it. So well done, 17 to her. So yeah, the Canadian Sasquatch so kindly nominated me, so thank you very much. Cheers guys. First beer of the day. So first question, how did you get into beer geeking and why? Beer geeking. Okay, don't really call it beer geeking. Well, if that's with relation to getting into beer and all that kind of stuff, my first experience with beer was pretty stock standard for someone living in my state. There was only really a couple of beers to choose from. I never really enjoyed the taste of beer. I thought all beer tasted the same, and I guess I probably just started drinking beer because it was a bit of a norm. Not peer pressure, but my peers were all drinking the same beer, so when I started drinking I thought, well, I've got to do that too. But that's definitely not geeking, that's just first experience with beer. I really got into beer geeking, if you want to call it that, from mead, actually. I did my first little experimental batch of 4 litres of mead. I think that's about a gallon or whatever, and the first one turned out really, really bad. Second one was Joe's Ancient Orange mead, and that turned out amazing, and I was bitten with the brew bug. And I probably did around about 10, 11, maybe even 12 experimental batches of mead before I got into brewing. And my first beer, when I started brewing, I affectionately called the Band-Aid Brew, because I got too creative for my own boots doing a kit, and put some mulberries in there that weren't necessarily sanitized or pasteurized, whatever, and the beer just tasted like off Band-Aids. So that was my first experience. But really, with relation to if I was to be completely honest, beer geeking, it really came from, ultimately, me and 2 of my brothers went thirds in a Cooper's vintage carton of beer. It was 14 years old. It was the first time that they bottle conditioned their Cooper's vintage special beer, which only comes out once a year. They do a vintage every year, and I did a review on that. Was one of my first sort of reviews on YouTube, and yeah, I was bitten by the bug with regards to beer, realising how complex and amazing beer can be, even more complex in my opinion than a lot of wines, because the possibilities are endless depending on ingredients, hops, adjuncts, all that kind of stuff. So that's probably where I first got bitten by the beer geek bug, if that's what you want to call it. Yeah, I think that answers the question. Second one, what's your favourite beer? Well, that's hard, because as you can see here, there's lots of beers that I've had over the years, but if I was to be completely honest, one of my most favourite beers is that was the Earl Grey version. This beer here that Vic did, made the 17 IPA extract version, and that was one of the best beers I've ever done. Sorry, not done, gosh, tasted, because I still haven't even brewed it. How bad's that? And probably another one of my favourite beers is a Double Fisted Ale that I brewed in honour of Craig Tube. That was one of the first real tasting beers that I actually made, and that's gone all around the world. People have brewed it, and I'm just so proud of it. And it's still an amazing beer. So yeah, this one was pretty good too. But you know, guys, it's hard to pick a favourite beer for me, because beers are constantly adapting. The styles are changing. There's so many options and so many flavours and things you can actually do now, or experience. So that's actually a really hard question for me to answer. But yeah, if you could have one beer forever, what would it be? Probably a mild IPA. so not like a massive hop bomb. Something a little bit fruity, citrus, a little bit of pine. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I know it's a pale ale, but maybe something like a Sierra Nevada pale ale or something like that. But I just don't want it overly hoppy. Kind of light on the hops. So I don't know what kind of beer I would put into that with regards to a specific name, but maybe just like an American mild IPA or something like that. Yeah, I love the flavour of hops. I love that kind of light, decent sort of malt backbone. Yeah. How can if you could have one beer forever, what would it be? Oh, no, I just answered that. How can you drink so much? Question mark. How do you stay healthy? I probably, some days I maybe have like one beer a day. I'm assuming that means how can you drink so much and stay healthy? I don't know, but I'm pretty good with my health. I like to, you know, keep on top of my health, things like that. I do lots of different things. I went through a lot of different stages in my life where I tried different lifestyles with regards to my diet and doing lots of different things. I went through a stage where I ate every 3 hours and, you know, had up to 7 meals a day, following like a bit of a weightlifting routine. At the moment, I'm into something called intermittent fasting. So I don't really eat until around about 1:30 in the afternoon. Save all my sort of calories for the end of the day, which is cool because then that means I get to have more beers and still be in a calorie deficit. It's not really starving. It's kind of, you know, yeah, I don't know. I won't get into that. But basically, for me to stay healthy, I try and eat at least, you know, I don't know, up to maybe 100 grams of protein a day. I like to have some, you know, fibrous, you know, vegetables. I love broccoli. So I just try and minimise the amount of sugar, especially refined sugar that I have in my diet. And I try and eat sort of whole foods and, you know, a lot of vegetables, not cooked too much, so you're not getting all the nutrients out of them. I don't know. I try and have like a really balanced diet, but I also try and give myself cheat sort of fun days where I can just splurge and have a pizza to myself and not feel guilty because I've been pretty good for the majority of the week. So, I don't know. It's all in moderation, guys. You just got to enjoy what you're doing and keep an eye on your waistline. And if you're doing something wrong, then you know, if your clothes are getting tight, that'll probably indicate that you need to maybe change a few things. I don't know, guys. I just try and stay healthy as best that I can and try and filter all the information that's out there and do what's best for me and my body. So, what's the next one? Are you an alcoholic? I've watched a lot of other people, how they comment on this. I've got a really simple answer to that. There's a lot of different opinions as to what makes an alcoholic, but at the end of the day, my opinion about what makes an alcoholic is your emotional attachment to alcohol. So if you have an emotional investment in alcohol to the point that you can't survive without it and you can't function, and then you feel like a different person when you're on it and you're a completely different person when you're off of it, and you are overcompensating for some maybe emotional issues, and using alcohol as a bit of like a self-medication tool, then, you know, maybe that's going into the territory of alcoholism. I don't know, but I guess you have to speak for yourself. No, I'm not an alcoholic. I can go a few days without a beer and feel okay. You know, I think at the end of the day, you shouldn't drink to get smashed. You should drink to enjoy the love of your brewing and what you do. And you know, and there's nothing wrong with catching a buzz, you know, as long as maybe your character doesn't necessarily do a completely, you know, 180 or whatever, and, you know, change and, you know, kind of like Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing. I think you need to keep on top of that if you do, and that's why I always have that up there as a reminder for me. So, slow to speak and drink, quick to listen. yeah, because I can be a bit of a chatterbox, and yeah, always try and make sure everyone's got, you know, my mates when I'm chatting to them, when I'm having a few beers, make sure you're quick to listen and let everyone have a say and have fun, and so everyone feels validated and you're enjoying the conversation and you're not drowning out everyone else just because you're feeling a bit tipsy and you're chatting away. You know, talk the leg off a chair, fish underwater, all that kind of crap. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think I'm an alcoholic. What's your favourite ingredient? Well, it's a fairly easy question, I suppose, because, you know, yeast, I suppose. We wouldn't have beer if we didn't have yeast. And I know, I guess that goes without saying, but without, you know, I think we have to respect the yeast and give them what they need, and then they give us what we need or what we want, which is good tasting beer. Okay, so another ingredient, well, it would just have to be malt. Good quality malt. It's kind of like a multi-layered question for me, because I think it's yeast first and foremost, malt, and then hops. Definitely hops. Hops can just make or break a beer in a way, or not break, but they can turn a bland beer into something really robust and full of layered characteristics. Anyway, I hope that answers the question. Do you brew? Well, yeah, anyone who's subscribed to my channel and know CZ, yeah, I brew. Yeah, I brew. So I wouldn't be on YouTube right now if I didn't continue with my brewing, so I definitely brew. And love it. Really enjoy the love of the craft. What have we got? What was your first beer? Okay, my first beer was West End Draft. Used to be an South Australian run company. It's now owned, I think, by maybe a Japanese company or something now. It's a draft, so it's not a lager, but you know, it's a draft style beer, like a pub sort of keg style beer. Very, very light, hardly any hop presence whatsoever, really no hop presence whatsoever. That was the first beer I tried, I think, and I thought that's just what all beer tastes like. I had one not that long ago, and tasted really bad, because I guess my palate has adapted. It's changed because of my brewing and introducing myself to really decent craft beers, you know, even the commercial ones, and then you have those bland commercial beers which don't really fit into the craft category, and they taste so average it's not funny. So yeah, that was my first beer. Last one. Who in beer world do you look up to? Well, there's a lot of people. The first person I really looked up to was Mr. Craig Ferraway. He introduced me and made the idea of brewing very accessible and very simple. I've kind of changed my method since then, but I still go back to the simple method because there's nothing wrong with it, and it makes, I believe, craft style beer. But ultimately, if I'm thinking of a YouTube type of celebrity status or whatever, then yeah, Mr. Craig Ferraway for sure. But really, at the end of the day, the person or / people that I look up to definitely would have to be all of you guys. You know, the mates I chat to on Skype, the 17 Brew Crew community, all the friends that I've made, they're all the ones I look up to, because ultimately they make me a better brewer. And, you know, at times they may make me a better man. Bonus, hey? You know, anyway, it's friendships, guys. That's what makes me, that's who I look up to. I look up to all of you guys because there's, you know, stuff maybe that I know that other people haven't done, and majority of the time, or most of the time, everyone else has, you know, experimented on things that I might be wanting to look into, and they can always point me in the right direction and give me some really good constructive criticism, feedback, information, knowledge, all that kind of stuff. So, all of you guys, you guys are the ones I look up to. So yeah, I think that's all of the questions. I'm pretty sure. There's 9 of them, yep. Okay, so who am I going to nominate? I reckon I'm going to nominate Sticky Tentacles Brewing on YouTube. I'm going to nominate Brewocalypse. Brewocalypse on YouTube, and I'm going to nominate, now these guys don't have videos, but I want to nominate them anyway, so Taz Spark on YouTube, because he has a channel, but you know, Vic Bitter on YouTube, Jant, which we know as JMCM-LXX on YouTube. And I'm also going to nominate Technicians Brewery, so Mr. BB, Brew Beerymore. Yeah, that's who I'm nominating. So 17 guys. I hope this was an interesting video. I hope I did it justice, and thanks a lot, Tasting Niche or Niche for doing this little thing, and thank you, Canadian Sasquatch, for nominating me. I hope this was interesting. Cheers, guys. G'day guys, please like, subscribe and share if you like, and yeah, stay easy.